Call the meeting to order. Let's do roll call.
Kathleen Richard.
Mira Kresovic.
Grosvenor here. Let's stand and say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. How you doing?
Bag.
Motion to approve the minutes from prior meeting,
Okay. We
April
have
15th.
a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
I
Motion carried. Need a motion for the voucher list for May.
actually have
Good.
2 clarification questions, if I may.
Okay, let's go.
April 23rd, bank fees. I'm not certain. I would like clarification if possible, and I was wondering if that's something that could be avoided.
That would be a Danielle Brown question when it comes to bank fees. But I can pass on.
And my other
We
question,
assume it's related to water because it's on the water bill. So it's for taking credit cards from customers for water bills and sewer bills.
I will not comment either way
Okay.
because I'm
that's
Well,
not certain. And
yeah. I think we're all surprised because when it comes to real estate taxes, customer pays the fee if they want to use their credit card.
Yeah.
I believe they do now.
They do
Customer
know.
pays the fee.
the additional
Yeah,
percentage
I
you're
believe
using.
that. The convenience fee.
I guess then what you would like to see is where's the income from it versus where's the fee.
Why we're being charged.
Yes. My other question was on May 1st, Ferguson Enterprises macros. Is that computer or is that technology or?
So that's the name of a band we use for repairs. It's a sleeve, but there's alphas and there's macros.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it's a part.
it's just, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion made and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. Report on the water system performance.
Things are going well. We had main break this past month again. Yes, right in front of our building, in front of our driveway. So it happened just as the guys were coming. So there was quick response, and they kind of see it start bubbling. So we were able to
Is that on?
airways in the business park. Well, actually, the industrial park. So we're like between 57th and 54th on airways. Did have to take out a couple feet of pipe. It's some of our older stuff in the city, so yeah, but we were able to get that fixed.
Cost of the break. Reason the break happened.
Just pipes deteriorating. So 2 hydrants were hit. Both were reported, so we'll get Lisa's on. Just got all the invoicing today on the one, so we'll get that turned into Lisa and she'll follow through on those. Now we're getting flushing done and just keeping up on meter changeouts and getting ready for road program to start.
Any questions? Unfinished business, Lover's Lane Water Tower and Water Main Project update.
I think last the contract C portion is all in the ground. They still got landscaping to finish. If you have been down Lover's Lane, you'll see that tower's painted.
Looks nice.
The logo's on it.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it looks once it's in the air. Well, it'll look better in the air when you can't see but.
The blemishes.
So did
Yeah.
they add Home of the Rock to it? No, I'm just
No, we were just making sure everything was spelt right. So, yeah, that went really well. They had good weather, and it took them like 12, 14 days. They do it all, and it doesn't.
I'll give you a pass.
I don't know exact day yet when they're going to come and raise it. They were planning for June or July, so.
Is it a day event?
Yeah, they say it cuts just a couple hours.
Oh, wow.
So, get it up. So, once I know, I'll send an email out. But
I don't want to watch.
So,
Like I live right over there. Yeah.
Can you see the concrete from your house?
No, not from my house. No, because too many
trees
trees.
now.
Yeah.
Have to wait till fall.
But I literally, anytime I'm out of my house, I'm down that road, so I see it all the time. So yeah, I've been watching the progress.
So, yeah, there's still plenty of work to do on the site, but yeah, as far as contracts, see, just landscaping, it's all in service. So we'll have final pay apps on that. And that's probably about it for that one.
The water main along the St. Martin's Road?
That's been completed. We'll be working on pay apps for that. Just some uncertainty how much restoration the state's going to do, and the contractor will be responsible for it, but that's all in service. Everything's done, so we'll take that off the list.
Oh, now the biggie, number C, water loss.
Yeah, I don't have a ton for it. I know Danielle's working on it for next month,
Okay.
so
Well, you gotta wait one more.
hopefully. We're gonna have to start looking at some relays too. I mean, we did do quite a bit of leak listening, but to see what this last break was, and we had just done leak listening 6 months ago, I think we just got to start planning for the inevitable of relaying some pipe. So, and then hopefully Danielle will have a better report from first quarter.
Okay.
Sorry, didn't have one.
And now we go to new business. And we have Mr. Mike Sullivan here. Give us an update on what's going on at Oak Creek.
Pam, I would love to. Got a little packet I want to hand out for you. I didn't know about the KB situation, so we'll kind of do slides and paper.
Thank you.
Certainly. There we go.
I was a paper boy for 4 years. Actually, probably 5.5 or 6. I helped others before that.
You weren't done on scrolls back then? I'm just
Stone tablets.
That'd be pretty
Sunday morning, pulling that coaster around, 2:45 a.m. From Manitoba up to Oregon Avenue on 12th.
Oh, cool.
Those were actual Sundays.
Yeah. Old school.
So I'll give you a bit of an update on some of the projects that we have going coming up over the next 5 years. Really 6 years, I included 25 to 2030 to make that a little bit easier for us. For sake of an agenda, I'm going to give you a brief history, very abridged history of the Oak Creek water system. Just some of the major bullet points, just for some of the new commissioners. And then I'll talk about the planned projects we've got going. I'll focus on our underground facilities rehab project, since that's the biggest project, the most impactful project. But I will go into the other cash-funded projects. So with that, on the next page, the historical timeline. I just brought in there that in 1959, the city acquired the water intake, 30-inch water intake into the Lake Michigan from the Newport Chemical Company. That was constructed in I always want to say 2014. 1914 is when that was constructed. So it's quite an old line. We'll talk a little bit more about that in some future projects we've got working. 1960, the utility was officially formed in Oak Creek. In the 70s, we began some retail water service in the city of Franklin, notably at 27th and Ryan Road, but also at 27th and Rawson, and that kind of grew out to probably 60th or 68th, something like that. Meadow Creek had his retail customers for a time. So that started pretty early on. In 74, so we were a well community, just like Franklin was, and in 74 was when our treatment plant first came online, and it was rated at 8 MGD or per million gallons per day. For that, 1985, we went through our first treatment plant expansion, expanding the plant to 12 MGD due to some growth in the community. 1992, we signed a wholesale water agreement with the Crestview Sanitary District and then later the Katy Vista Sanitary District of Caledonia. Now they're both jointly called Caledonia. They're part of the Village of Caledonia. 1994, we signed the wholesale water agreement with the City of Franklin. In 1999, we went through another expansion at the treatment plant with the new growth up to 20 MGD. In 2008, we signed a new wholesale water agreement with Caledonia for 40 years. 2010, we had another plant expansion, expanding the plant now to 28 million gallons per day. The growth in all the communities. In 2011, right after that expansion, the rated capacity of the plant went from 28 to 35 MGD after we were able to document and prove that our filters could handle that higher flow rate, approved by DNR. So now we're currently rated at 35 MGD. That was with all the equipment that was there. And in 2024, we signed, of course, the new wholesale agreement with Franklin. So very quick history, missing obviously an awful lot, but it just gives you a rough idea. But I'll go into the underground facilities rehab project. This is the most impactful project we've done in a very long time. My bullet points there, $55 million. It's going to be about a 3-year construction project. That's just a picture of our overall plant as it sits today. The next page, we're talking about a little bit more specifics on the project, the chlorine contact tank, and the wet well underneath the Hylett pump station, or pump station as it's listed here. Those are the most impactful pieces of the project, although we do have other pieces that don't meet DNR's code, which is the reason why we're doing this project. But it gives you a feel for kind of where that is. Water flows through our plant, I guess you would say up the sheet to the chlorine contact tank, back down to that pump station, and then it gets pumped out into the. So the next page kind of shows you a little bit of a graphic on what's going on and the reasons why we're doing it. The existing chlorine contact tank is a buried tank underground. The groundwater alongside of that tank is above the level of the water in the tank. So if water has the ability to leak, it's going to leak in the tank, not out of the tank. That that causes quite a risk to our water system, right? If we get some potentially contaminated water coming in. So that's the reason why the DNR was concerned. Our pump wet well for the Hylett pump is the same thing. So it's a big tank underground that the pumps draw their water out of. Exact same situation where the groundwater is up higher than the tank. There are 8 other DNR code issues. We don't like to call them violations, but they're code issues that need to be corrected surrounding this concept. Pipes going in and out, venting of the tank, overflow of the tank. The roof doesn't have a membrane on it. There's grass on top of it. That could leak into the tank. There's a number of issues with this that we're attempting to resolve this project. The chlorine contact tank and the wet well both are single points of failure. So if either one of them have a problem, we're done, we're out. We can't serve. In addition, we can't take them down for the required 10-year inspection. Need them online all the time to run the plant because they are a single point. So these are things that need to be looked at correctly. The next sheet shows just again a little graphic of that tank underground and how do we fix the problem. Well, you put a tank above ground and we're going to have pumping to pump that water underground up above into this new tank. Then we'll have to pump out of that tank into the distribution system. So I kind of give you sort of a graphic on what that might look like. So I mentioned before the DNR showed us the issues that we have compared to their code. They notified us officially in 2012 in our sanitary survey when the DNR surveys our water system once every 3 years. We have looked at 8 different alternatives studies over the last 25 years on how to solve this problem. The most recent one was done in 2024, the one we're proceeding with now. And both on that study, both the City of Franklin and Elm Creek collaborated on that study to come to the conclusion that we have now, the recommended alternative that we have now. The next page I'm not really going to go through for you, but it does show you the alternatives of this current feasibility study, the 6 alternatives that were evaluated and what incorporated into those. Some rehab of the existing facilities, some new facilities. 2B is the alternative that we selected, but I'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. But you can certainly have this to give you an idea of what we were looking at in that project. The next sheet shows the
Oh, thank you so much.
The next sheet shows the benefit prioritization. So we looked all together, we looked at what are the benefits of doing this project? What are the benefits compared to the other alternatives, and where do we fit with the alternative that will be selected? Alternate 2B there in the center with the gold star on top of it showed the greatest benefit of the project, and we rated a number of items there. You can kind of see those: water quality, operation and maintenance, that sort of thing. We rated those together. Franklin rated it, Oak Creek rated it. We merged those ratings together, and that's how we came out with our final. Alternative 2B, again, is a new above-ground chlorine contact tank, so we'll put that above the ground so we don't have any infiltration potential. New intermediate pump station, which includes ultraviolet disinfection, pumped into that tank. The ultraviolet disinfection, while it's a great public health piece, its primary purpose is to make the tank smaller. So we don't need as much chlorine contact time if we have another form of disinfection, and that's why we're doing it. New high lift pump station to pump once the water comes out of the tank into our distribution system. And lastly, we're going to rehabilitate the existing pump station to use as an electrical room power. So what are the benefits of this particular project? Well, I put it in bold print there. The biggest one is the protection of public health, and that really is the biggest reason why we're doing this. This alternative did have the lowest impact during construction, the lowest risk to the water system. It was the easiest for us to maintain in the future and operate, and it had a very good public perception. We're adding that ultraviolet disinfection. People are going to really kind of attach onto that's an additional feature to protecting the water. So that's how that was rated. The next sheet there shows all of the alternatives again and kind of the conceptual cost during this study when it was done. And as you can see, pretty much all the alternatives are very nearly the same price. So the cost benefit is really good for alternative 2B when it had the highest benefits and comparable costs. Alternatives. The project components for this project you can kind of see here on the next sheet. It's just a couple of blobs put onto our aerial photograph, but it does show the general location of the intermediate pump station with UV, the high lift pump station, which is physically attached. They're in one building, and then the chlorine contact tank that's located next to it or adjacent to it. It's actually physically attached as well. Project funding and cost. So in estimated in $2027 at the time, the total cost of the construction cost was $45 million. The total cost of the project is estimated at $55 million. That's the number we're going with now, the number we're using for planning and funding in that. Our funding source is going to be the Safe Drinking Water Loan Program. What's appealing about that program, while it's a loan, it's at a subsidized interest rate. So right now it's at 2.2% interest. That's a really good number to have. We do have quite a bit of cash actually built up for this project. I guess we haven't made a final decision. I haven't talked to our finance people yet, but I would suspect we're going to try and get as much of the Safe Drinking Water loan as we can, because that interest rate is so much lower than what we can invest our money at now. So if we can, we'll do that. I do think we're going to be limited within that program. Oshkosh is doing the same thing right now along with us. Their cost is in the same range, about as high as ours. I don't think the program is going to be able to fund 100% of both projects and all the other projects in the state. We will watch that kind of closely. And the estimated rate impact of the project is a 6% rate increase in 2030. It would be after the project's done. And to put that in a bit of perspective, we haven't had a full rate increase since 2012. We haven't had even a simplified rate increase since 2016. So it'll be quite a long time before we have the next rate increase, and it's right now projected at 6%. So feel pretty good about that number. Feel really good about the construction estimating all along since the alternative analysis was completed the end of last year. They estimated forward, I mentioned the 2027. It's even after we went from conceptual design to now complete design, it's still estimated at $45 million. So normally those projects will get more and more expensive as you get more specifics on the design and find out you have to do this or you have to do that. This one's holding that. We're really happy about that. Surprises going forward. The next sheet kind of shows the project timeline and where we're at now. We're just on the cusp of submitting to the PSC and the DNR for their approval to do this project. We expect the PSC is going to be probably 5 months, I would guess, to approve the project. DNR will be much shorter than that. Our Safe Drinking Water Loan Program, that deadline is end of June 30th, 2025, so we'll have our application in for that and see where that shakes out. We won't hear from them until the fall, September or October, most likely, when we'll hear about what those awards might be. Right now, bidding and award of the project November, December of this year, starting the project early next year, and then it's a 3-year construction. It's definitely going to take some. And with that, the last sheet is kind of a rendering that will be taking the Plan Commission here shortly. It shows sort of the bulk of it, where you can see the windows and the vents and the doors. That's the pump station section, both pump stations located in the same building in that section. The next spot with no windows, that's the chlorine contact tank section. So that's kind of how it lays out. The buildings to the left are existing. So it kind of lays that out a little bit. With that, there are other cash-funded projects that we're working on now. We're not doing any other borrowing. We traditionally don't like to do borrowing except for major projects, plan expansion type projects. Try and budget for the rest of them. Spread those budgeted items out over a 20-year planning window. Have an idea of what impact that's going to have year to year. Having said that, that's more of a guideline than it is a recipe. Use that to kind of guide our investments, but we're still going to look year over year as to what projects rise to the top and need to have our attention. So I'll sort of briefly go through this, I guess. Our $1.2 million treatment plant HVAC project, we started that maybe 3 years ago and have tried to get that going. Wow, is that stuff expensive? Holy cow. I think the first estimate we were at $350,000 or $400,000, and we increased that to $800,000 when we went to the Public Service Commission. And then the bids came back. We rejected those bids. We bid the project again, and they came back a little lower, but still, with everything included, it's $1.2 million. So we went back to the PSC and I asked them for the ability to raise the authorization for that, and that was fine. We are going to move forward. That project will be awarded tonight at Common Council. There's a 5-month lead time on the equipment, so it's going to be a little while before we started. Finally get started on that one.
I have
All
a
of that.
question on that.
Oh, yes, sir.
Not a sir. In any event, with regard to the HVAC project, PSC, got the PSC notice, did a quick check on Franklin Oak agreement, and it has that provision in there. If a project goes over $1 million, is any of that stuff in any way applicable to this HVAC?
Yeah.
I did see that in the notice from PSC, it's without a rate increase.
Right. Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. Yeah, this will be a cash-funded project as well. In this case, the timing is weird. The project was underway prior to the contract being signed. We did talk about it. I did talk about it here, in fact, the HVAC project at a previous time. But that project also wasn't $1 million. We were talking about it then. And I believe the contract is prior to design. We will come and talk to Franklin so we can plan together for these types of projects, I think was the idea behind it. So yeah, that's a weird timing. Good question. Weird timing project.
Thanks.
We talked about that 1914 intake pipe out in Lake Michigan. That's our next project. Is we need to clean that pipe out. It's full of sand and it's got a hole, at least one hole in it. So we're going to repair the hole, clean that out. So it's our backup intake, but that way we can use it as a backup if we need it. Otherwise, we're going to have to abandon it if we don't do so. That's $500,000 there. We'll do that this year as well. In the fall, we've got a 16-inch transmission main. I didn't put the location. That happens to be Shepherd Avenue and Ryan Road. The DOT is doing some intersection work there. Requires us to move our water main out of the way. Those are always fun jobs.
We hadn't noticed.
Right, yes, exactly. Those are always fun jobs, so we'll be doing that one this year. And then beyond that, we've got a few ongoing projects. Come next to our ongoing projects that have been going on for years. $250,000 to do security upgrades, so access control, video systems, that sort of thing that we're doing at their treatment plant and at our remote stations. The existing access control at our pump stations was installed in 2005 or 6, well past its useful life. Needs to be coordinated with the security system, video system we have down in our treatment plant. So those types of upgrades are going to be done there. MCC is a motor control center, so it's what drives our pumps. The electrical system, you might think of it like a circuit breaker panel, kind of, except much larger. So MCC 9 is in our sludge room in our treatment plant. That needs to be replaced just due to age on that. We've had a number of failures on that one as well. We have very few other, there's one other original MCC that we will have to address at some point, but right now it's not burning. And with this new project, we're taking a bunch of the load off of that MCC, so we plan on leaving that one in there for a while. The next one here, the MCC replacement at Janet Drive Pump Station. That pump station, it's a booster station, generally at the intersection of Rawson and 13th Street. It's actually up a little ways on Janet Drive. That was put in 1981. They put the electric controls right in the pump room with all the water, so that really needs to move. It's not safe. We have a shower hanging over it now, but it was put in 81, and it's old and outdated, and that needs a little love. Then we get into some bigger projects, the 20-inch water main replacement on 10th Street from Rawson to 3,000 feet south. We've had quite a few water main breaks on that project, and it impacts our ability to transmit water. This line transmits water to that Janet pump station to get that up into our higher zone. And our higher pressure zone is what feeds all of Franklin. So, yeah, that one's important. The next one down, the 16-inch transmission main there, that's Ryan Road at Howell Avenue. The DOT is going to be doing some more work there, but this is really driven by us on getting that main replaced. We've had quite a few breaks there, and it's a case where it's really hard to work on it and hard to isolate. One that needs to get replaced. So the previous is scheduled for 2028. This one's scheduled for 2030. That's our plan there. The total for the cash-funded projects is $6.6 million over that 6-year period. And just for reference, I put in there our other CIP projects. Distribution mains primarily over that same time period is 4.7. Kind of all I have. The major project is that underground facilities project. That's the major one we're doing. The rest of them are all really pretty small at this point.
And when will you know that you got approved for the loan and how much the loan will be for?
So I should hear something in August. We would for sure know in September, October from the DNR, and we'll look for closing November, December. Sometimes we might have to wait until January to close on the loan, somewhere in there. If there was any hiccups, not really sure. PSC authorization is not required for the loan application to be complete, so that's good news there. That can drag out if it needs to. I'm confident. We were rated very high. The last time we went through this, we were the 3rd highest project in the state. So, no problem. This time, Oshkosh was preliminarily rated a little higher than us. So we'll see what happens when the DNR does their ratings on the project. We won't know that for a little.
What's the rating due to you getting the money?
Oh, well, they priority rate all the projects in the state as to which, so they can figure on working on the most important ones first.
Got it.
And we were rated up quite high just due to the public health concern with this project. So if you don't do it, you've got the DNR's eyes an imminent risk to the water system.
Right.
It does rank you up pretty high. Oshkosh, quite a few other projects that are doing different things.
Mm-hmm.
These are important projects. So I think we'll be well. Yeah.
Any other questions? Good report.
You know what? We'll try and refine it and get better and better every year.
Yeah.
I am super excited about doing this. I really am, because it's a great time to spend a little time with you guys and let you know what's going on going forward. So I think it's going to make things run so much more smoothly. I wish we would have done this a long time ago.
Instead of all the prior couple of.
Yes. Yeah.
communication, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, that's great.
This is
Anytime.
I can say that I've been in some of those design meetings and the emphasis, for example, the electrical room, the emphasis has really been how can we utilize what we have right now and make it last and spend less. So I mean, I think it's been really well managed,
Yeah.
the whole project, and very, very open, transparent, and encouraged questions, concerns. It's been great.
Yeah, last time we did this, the DNR actually participated in the rating of the alternatives.
Yeah.
And this time they said, that's not really our place. Kind of disappointing, but they've been at the meetings as well.
Yes,
They've been
yep.
involved all along.
Yeah.
We just had another meeting with the DNR to kind of a pre-application meeting so they understand what our application is going to be. And they could answer any or ask any questions that they had there. That's been a really good.
Well, this is a whole lot better than what it used to
Yes, sir.
Appreciate
I agree.
Appreciate your efforts.
Absolutely. All right, thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
Mike.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of your evening.
Yeah, you do.
You going to the council meeting?
I am
Your
not.
council meeting?
I know we do, yeah, we do have a few items on it, but I've got someone taking that because I wasn't sure what this
Yeah.
taking that for.
Well, appreciate you coming.
Oh, yeah.
So they
Doesn't
know.
take that long when you're so well prepared.
That's easy. There you go.
Well, Dan's not here either tonight.
Well, there is
so-
that.
Right,
There is
right.
that.
Yeah, that one, yeah.
You know, he'd
There'll
ask
be
some
a lot of
questions.
questions, yes.
Oh, getting off easy tonight. Dan's not here.
All right, thank you.
Well, thank
Good
you so
night.
much. Have a good night. Oh, that's so. Right.
I think we need one more motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.